We don't want the customer to incur very large inference costs. More importantly, we don't want the LLMs to come up with garbage answers or what's called hallucinations. When you give a marketing document to a ChatGPT and say, I did this campaign last week, next week I'm going to reinvent, create a new campaign, it'll do a great job. But you can't do that with IT systems because you want Hawkeye to give you exactly what's going wrong with your website and why it's failing. Not a what if, not a possibility, but exact.
Does the system have to be trained on a specific company's setup, or is it kind of something that you can plug into any cloud or IT environment and it will automatically know how to look around and observe?
The latter. It's plug and play. And the reason for this is we believe these foundational models have seen so many different IT scenarios that the specific ailment you're facing is not something that hasn't ever happened before. We're not solving for that minutia of possibilities. So then all we have to do is take all this knowledge that exists in the LLMs and apply it to your context, your data. That's what we do here at Neubird. We are context engineers. We pick the right alerts, logs, metrics, traces so that the LLMs can diagnose the problem using reasoning, and we apply a different kind of reasoning methodologies. We have these models argue with each other, cross-check each other, consult knowledge bases to see if the reason that it's coming up with is in the realm of something that's happened before. It's a complex system to build agentic systems, but it all relies on good context engineering.
I've always felt that once we could get AI models to kind of fight amongst themselves as discrete entities, we would have some really positive friction that would yield better end results. And I think that's one reason why I'm so bullish on building up more compute capacity, because I think it would be great to be able to be wasteful with inference, because then I think we can do quite a lot, but that's down the road. You guys launched Hawkeye, general availability like a year ago?
Yep, a year ago. Yeah.
So sitting here 12 months later, Gou, how's it going?
Pretty good. Look, we intentionally launched this with limited availability so we could learn with key design partners. We picked enterprises of all shapes and sizes, some very large logistic companies, some very large financial institutions, pharmaceutical companies, manufacturing, all the way down to low end of the mid-market. Why? Because we want to see if the product resonates well with the whole spectrum. What type of problems do you have? At the very large enterprise, a lot of noisy alerts. At the very low end, they want even more surgical because they're more tied into DevOps. What part of my code change is actually causing this issue? And so we've learned a lot. We've had a lot of good success. What do I mean by that? We're achieving close to 90% plus reduction in the mean time to incident response and resolution from the RCAs that we're creating.
Mean time of incident to response. So that means that if it used to take me 10 hours,
and it's not just time, it takes an army of people. Look, you can't imagine that any one engineer is an expert in networking and Kubernetes and storage. That's not possible. People acquire expertise in different areas. And thankfully, these LLMs sort of have cross-domain expertise. They have a lot of knowledge, but they need to be told what to do. And that's where the context engineering comes from.
One of the themes we talk about over and over again on This Week in Startups is making sure you do your chores. I'm no expert on these things. I have some experience. Stephen Estes from CLA is an expert. Let's talk about being cash efficient. Tell us about efficiency and what you see in the top tier startups in your practice.
We're seeing kind of an interesting trend out there where companies aren't needing to raise quite as much as they had in the past. You really have to be careful as a founder to only take on as much money as you really need. You've got to do the forecasting, you've got to do the modeling, and you got to dial it in and get it right. Otherwise, you're going to end up either not raising enough capital to get to where you're going, and you're going to have to go get venture debt or go back, have an extender to the round, or you're going to give up too much of the company because you just didn't recognize how much money you actually needed.
Yeah, very important to get this stuff right, folks. And that's really a bummer when startups don't do things in a button-up way. Always have a great partner, a good partner to have on this adventure while things change. My friend Stephen over at CLA. Visit CLAconnect.com/tech. And don't forget to mention that your boy JCal sent you. That's CLAconnect.com/tech. Start today.